Video real quick. We're going to talk about builds. I'm going to show you kind of what my recommendations are now that I've tested a little bit more as I went along. This character is my newest character. I made him a couple days ago. If you look at his lifespan over here, it says like 3 days. I've played him 2 nights, essentially 2 nights, and then I had him AFK a couple of times. Not as much as usual, but you know, I have a puppy to take care of and stuff nowadays. Sleeping on my feet right now, so we have a little bit of time here. I started this character with 1.3 strength, 5 con, 2.7 dex, and 3 intelligence. Why I did this was because with strength in general, when I was base building and stuff, you can get 0.2 or so. If I was focusing on strength, then I could get this up to 0.5 within 6 hours or so. You know, it's basically an in-game day. As far as I know, there's 6 hours. So this will go up. You can see that we started with brawling because I wanted one of these skills to be at least medium. A lot of players don't start with brawling, so I was perfectly fine having medium brawling compared to everything else. I'm going to say that this is probably a build if you were like a long-term, if you want every stat long-term leveled up, this would be the split I would probably want to do. You don't really need specifics for anything. All of the skills inside of strength you can level up pretty quick within a day or two. Brawling is the hardest to passively level. It's the most dangerous one to level. If you wanted to level medical with it, then that would probably be the reason to use brawling. But it's not as useful to use in general sense. Okay. But as you get stronger, it becomes better because you can knock people out a bit more. And I personally like using it with throwing weapons. So I'll throw a spear, go in for a punch, knock them down, grab the spear off their body, repeat it. So if you're a spear chucker or something, that works really good. You can sort of passive level brawling if you really want to, but it's not the best. You can passive level melee weapons though, because with brawling, if you want to level this up, you have to basically kill a puppet, and then you're going to have to sit there and kick it over and over, and your character model is going to slowly move forward the whole time, right? Uh, that's not the best, okay? You basically have to be in a corner and continuously do it. With a melee weapon, you can get melee weapons that attack faster than you can actually kick. So it's faster to level melee than it is to level brawling. And it should take, from what I recall, an hour or so to go from 0 to basic, but you should never do that because when you start the game, you'll have at least 1 point. You can put basic in both. You'll get 3 XP at 0. You'll get 7 XP, I believe, when you get to basic to medium, and then you'll get 17 XP till you get to advanced. But you can get fast attacking melee weapons, and you can just hit the dead bodies and get extra XP off that. If you don't want to do that, then you can get a training sword and use the training sword against the puppets. It does very minimal damage, and you can get XP that way as well. But that's pretty much how I do this. Archery and all these other ones really easy to level. For strength, um, push the wheelbarrows, put stuff in your backpack that's heavy, doing base building while carrying loads, anything like that is going to slow level your strength. The weaker your character is, the easier it is to level this at the beginning. So personally, if I'm going to go for a long-term build, I prefer to level strength um, over dex or anything else because you can't guarantee that you're going to be running all the time with Constitution. I've been able to keep this relatively up high the last few days, um, but I don't run all the time. Like even sitting here like this, like unless you're going to be running your character 24/7, I just recommend getting 5 con, getting out of the way. This is an early game stat to me. You're getting more HP, you're getting more endurance, you're getting more running speed and all of that stuff, as well as you're getting a boost in both your running and your endurance stats, which are going to take you a very long time to level. So I think that starting with 5 in this is good. You know, people can say that they level it up really quickly. That's fine. I mean, you go ahead and do that. It's not a big deal. But if you want to dedicate your time to running and doing all that, then it's just going to be a pain. The other things that you can level that, you know, these don't affect the game so much that it's going to be unplayable. But starting the game with a runner, lower movement speed, lower stamina, lower HP, that's pretty rough. And then late game, like once you get a vehicle or something, you're not running so much, your con's going to drop anyway. So that's up to you if you want to do this. I would say if you want to be like PvP fight focused, just go with the 5 con and then put the rest into strength. And you can start the game with 3 or 4 strength, however much that you want. I think you'd be able to get 3 point something if you wanted there. And if I was PvP focused, I'd probably do that. With Dex, I started at 2.7 on this because I wanted the 80% into Thievery. Essentially, if you have medium Thievery and you can lockpick advanced locks consistently and do 100 a day, you can get advanced pretty much at the same point that somebody who has 80% lockpicks basic locks 100 per day. So that's why I kind of balanced it out there. If I lowered this, if I put another point into this, it'll be 160,000 XP, which would basically be from leveling from 0 to medium. But at medium thievery, I can pick advanced locks from 80%. That's where I'm comfortable leveling this up to max without it being too much of a grind for me. Okay, throwing stuff, you can throw this at dead bodies and you'll get 50 XP per. It levels faster than um, brawling or melee because you're getting basically, I don't know, at least 2 times, 3 times the value per throw that you're getting in those skills. So this isn't even going to take a day to level up if you really want to. The driving skills, you just get a vehicle, you can level those up. If you're in a very PvP oriented server, you can put some points into there to help you out at the very beginning. I don't think it's the biggest deal in the world. Stealth, you AFK or whatever, when you base build or whatever, you can just run into the foundation or whatever you want to do and get some stealth and camo there. Demolition, when you build, what I'm going to recommend is that when you're leveling these skills up and you build, you're going to at least want a stone, or you're going to want a stone axe, you're going to want a metal axe, and you're going to want a hacksaw. Alright. What you want to do is rotate those weapons when you cut the different pieces. So when you have a tree like this one and you cut it with a stone axe, you get like 6 to 8 logs. If you cut it with a metal axe, you can get 8 to 10 logs. But then when you cut the planks with that axe, you're going to get 4 planks. And when you cut the planks with the stone axe, you're going to get 4 planks. But when you cut the sticks with the hacksaw, you're going to get more sticks. So rotate those weapons. It does spread out the durability loss over 3 weapons, which is going to help you stay in the game and do what you need to do without having to worry about building a weapon every 2 seconds, right? When you start the game as well, get your hand on some scissors. When you kill the puppets, turn their cloth into rag strips, build rope, carry rag strip bundles, gather more cloth. That stuff can be helpful over the long period. Use the dirty or low HP rag strips to build, shelters or backpacks or whatever. But any high durability rag strip that you get, I wouldn't even use it for. I wouldn't even use those for medical. Okay. You can use the dirty rag strips, pour alcohol on them or whatever, clean them. They turn into 100% HP bandage. All right. So keep your 100% HP rags that you can find in pharmacies and stuff, and use them to craft things like these metal hatchets and things, right? Because out of all these weapon parts, the cloth is what's determining the HP value, it seems, when you build these. So whatever HP value your cloth is when you build this axe is how much durability it's going to have. So it's quite a big deal at the beginning. If you're going to go out of your way to build something like this, you might as well get the most HP value as you can. I have not tested using one of those 100% like antiseptic bandages. I don't think that you can, so it's not the biggest thing. Wheelbarrow is not to be frowned upon either. Use these for storage. These are your first vehicle, all right? Wheelbarrows and rafts are your first vehicle. When you start with 5 in Constitution and you have a good amount of endurance and recovery and all that, you can push these quite a far ways, park them outside of a town, go in the town, loot stuff, put it in the wheelbarrow, go into town, loot stuff, put it in the barrel, keep doing that, and then you can wheelbarrow at home. All right, so you don't have to run back and forth 24/7. You don't have to worry about people, you know, figuring out where you are, stalking you back to your base. And it seems like a lot of people don't actually worry about people's wheelbarrows. They don't seem to do anything with them, so that's also a benefit. The other thing though is that if you don't have a wheelbarrow, I generally would say for you to, when you craft your backpacks, if you craft this first backpack in the beginning, all right, and then you get an improvised backpack, and then say you get a better improvised backpack, when you put this one on your back, put this one in your hands, all right? When you get this one, put it on your back, put that in your hands. When you get a wheelbarrow, put these in the wheelbarrow, push it to town, bring a bag in your hands, fill everything up, go back, toss it in the wheelbarrow, and you're making more and more slots here, all right? So a lot of survival games and stuff, they have, it's basically backpack stacking, where you'll stack a bunch of backpacks on top of each other so you can get extra slots and carry more things. That's what you're going to be doing with the wheelbarrow. Very important that you can kind of maximize that when you're going to do stuff, especially if you're going over a long distance. Now, it does take time to push that there, but you can also just leave it there as a sort of, chest, or you can just build a chest in the area, put everything you want in the chest, bring the wheelbarrow later, toss the chest in the wheelbarrow, and go on your way. So that's pretty good. At the end of this, I'm going to try and go over the different build specs I think would be the best for most people. All right. So Dex levels up pretty consistently all the time. So if you don't have any Dex skill, it's still going to level up pretty quick. And it doesn't, like, the slowness that it gives you and everything, considering that it levels up pretty quick, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. All right. It's already gained 0.2 over a long period of time. It's not going to be the biggest thing. So I would say out of any build that you use, if you do not care for the thievery, or if you're going to be going for 5 intelligence or anything like that, I would just take it out of the Dex. All this is a time clock, As soon as you get going, this is going to be burning. You're going to be getting points within a week or so. I mean, you're going to have, 1 point in there, so you're going to be at like 2. So over a couple of weeks, this is just going to passively go up. And none of these skills here are vital, really. I mean, demolition, you can make basic mines and stuff at the beginning of the game. And if you're going 5 intelligence, your squad members should be the ones that have these skills. All right, you don't necessarily need those skills anymore. Okay. Now, okay, let's talk about this for a second. So you want to level your skills up. For me, you can max running or endurance. I prefer endurance over running, so if I was going to max anything, I would max endurance. I go 50-50 split just so it's simple, and I can level them both up kind of at a consistent pace. Here I would go for brawling over melee, but you can go either melee. Here I would go for thievery, but when you're leveling your skills, stealth and camo level up together pretty easily. Just passive walking into something. The demo skill, awareness, engineering, and survival all level up together. So when you cut down your tree, use your metal axe, cut down the tree, get logs. Use your stone axe to cut the logs into planks, and then use your hacksaws to cut the branches to get more branches. All of those small branches, you dump those into the spike trap blueprint. All right, and that's going to level up your demolition. For 0 to basic engineering, you go with the single door frames. Put your logs, or not your logs, your lumber into that. From basic to medium engineering, go for an improvised raft. When you do the improvised raft, you can do what I did and just toss a wooden club in your backpack or on your person, and it will use the wooden club as that second slot on there and give you a little bit more XP per. And I just toss the logs in here. or the lumber in here. I haven't really bothered just tossing logs in there. I don't know if the XP gain would be very different there. From that point, I think the medium chest is what you go for. I have to double check. Some people are saying that the storage shelf is the way to go on the server that I'm at, so I have to check that when I come back. But what that's going to do essentially is it's going to level up your engineering. Usually the engineering, especially early, will level up faster than survival. Survival is either the second or first fastest leveling here. Awareness is usually leveling up about half the level of survival. But during this playthrough, for some reason, my awareness stopped gaining, and so it didn't really level up as much. Camouflage levels up faster than stealth by like twice as much. So it's not the biggest thing, but this does level up pretty quick. Right, and you can see, so basically I've been playing for about 2 nights. I'm about to hit medium engineering, which is where the base building is going to take off, and this is where I'm going to build that big trading post design that I showed off before. It's not going to be the ultimate PvP base, but I'm going to make a giant trading post area where players can park vehicles, come in. There's going to be a lot of storage and cabins and things everywhere, and ideally somebody doesn't put down a C4 and blow everything up, but we'll see. If you don't go advanced medical, if you don't have any interest in advanced medical and you can get your hands on meds, I would say go for advanced survival. It levels up rapidly to advanced plus, which is a benefit, but you're also saving time on processing trees. So if you have no survival, it takes you like 200 seconds or so, so like 3 minutes or so, 3 or 4 minutes to process one tree. Once you get to basic, you're getting at like 140 seconds, so you're cutting it down to like 2 minutes and something. Advanced survival, you're getting it down to like 100 seconds, so it's about like a minute or two. And I haven't really tested advanced plus, but I can only assume it's going to take you about a minute. But over a grand scheme of things, with how many trees and stuff do you cut down, if you get this down to like a minute a tree compared to 4 minutes or something a tree, just take that over an hour. So like if you cut for an hour, you get 60 trees in that 1 hour, compared to what would the other one be? If it took you 4 minutes per tree, it would take you what was that, 15? You get like 15 trees? That's a drastic difference in time. Alright, that's all I can say. Like short term, survival would beat everything, because survival is going to level up your engineering faster. Survival is going to level up your awareness faster. That is the key skill for base building that I'm aware of. Alright, it's going to help you craft arrows, it's going to help you craft spears, help you craft all your armors and your tools and all that stuff. So if you don't want advanced medical, I would just go for the advanced survival personally. It also gives you access to all the, the starting fortifications and everything that you need for that. But advanced medical is going to take you a very long time to level unless you have a lot of assistance from, teammates, players, which, you probably will. If you have like a big squad, you can basically heal them all or whatever. Thievery is going to take the longest here, and then running and endurance are going to be the biggest ones anywhere else. So let's go ahead and look at some of these other things that I'm going to try and show you for a second. So if we go in here and make a fresh character, what I would recommend, so first things first is this right here. I mean, you can go like 0.3 and 4.7 and level up that 0.3 if you want here. But I want to get my running and endurance maxed as quickly as possible. So this is the build that I was running before. Okay. Now, what I would say though is that when you want an advanced skill, if you're not necessarily worried about it being advanced at the very beginning of the game, even things like medical, I just go ahead and put advanced medical because I need 3 intelligence to level up all my skills to max. But if you take this even like 3 points down, okay, you need 164,000 XP, whereas going from 0 to medium, you need 110,000. So most skills, medical isn't the best example because you get 25 XP per hill the whole way through. So there isn't really a major benefit for this. So going to 164,000 to level that up to advanced is acceptable to me because it's the same amount of time that it's going to take you to go from 0 to medium, and you get the advanced skill off of it. So if you want to conserve some points, you can do that, put that somewhere else, right? If they ever add intelligence scaling, that's what I would do, is just lower that down to like 2.7, level the rest of the intelligence in game, level the rest of your medical skill in game. Where the benefit comes from this is, say, something like running or something like stealth. Because stealth, you get like 1 point a second or whatever all the way through all this until you get like to the medium range, and you get like somewhere here in the 20 to 30%, and then you start getting that 4 XP per second mark that you can get, right? So if you're getting a 4 XP per second mark, then you can put 4 times less points in it to get to advanced during the same amount of time that someone goes from 0 to medium, right? So if they need 110,000 XP to get from 0 to medium, and you did 3 points out of this, then you would need 164,000, but you're gaining 4 skill points per second where they're gaining 1 skill point per second. So you can actually go 440,000 points or so under and level this up at the same rate, right? So that would conserve all these other points that you could put and say driving or thievery or whatever, right? Take like, and that's where I think that you can play around with the skill stats a little bit more than what most people do, as long as you don't care about leveling the skill up and having it 100% at the very beginning of the game. If you want max stealth, you can go down to like 600,000 XP or whatever, and still get it at about the same rate as someone going from 0 to medium. Alright, that is important to kind of know when you're going into this. So all around general leveling, I think this is going to be fine. You can level that thievery up if you really focused on it over, I think it was like 11 days. It's 11 days or a month, something like that, I don't remember. Advanced medical, get out of the way. All the other skills you can level up in a few days to a week, depending on how much you play. The dexterity skill, there's not really any skill in dexterity that's vital. Dexterity, the stat itself is more important than the skills underneath it for the most part. You can handle pretty much almost everything without dexterity. Maybe a couple of the advanced lock things would be an issue, but you can level up to medium thievery decently well. And then even if you go like 1 point in dexterity, right? Let's just look at this real quick. So say you wanted to be a PvP player at the very beginning of the game. You can go max rifles, max brawling, whatever you want. Keep up your running and endurance, and the benefit of this is you're getting the 5 con, and then you can have someone else lockpick for you, but you can get halfway to basic or halfway to medium thievery. You just have to wait for your dexterity to level in game, which is going to take a couple days, and then you can get medium thievery, And at medium thievery, you can comfortably get a lockpick. You know, once you get more experience with it, you can lockpick those advanced locks with advanced tools, um, fairly decently, I would think. You know, it's kind of, you know, a little here and there, but that's something you can do. But that is 50,000 XP that you got to get this to medium. And say you're getting 50 XP for like police lockers, that's 1,000 lockpicks. And I mean, if you do 10 a day or whatever, it's going to take you 100 days. But if you have a lockpicking practice board, you can knock that out pretty quick. That isn't going to be too bad compared to like an advanced lock. And that's where I would say that you need to adjust your XP level to thievery based on how well that you think that you can pick the locks. And I would base it on the basic lock, not the advanced lock. So the basic lock, if you can get 50 XP a lockpick, then figure out how long it's going to take you with that. So we had 80% before, which I think is 200,000 XP, and then we needed that by 50, so that's 4,000 lockpicks. And then I can do like 100 basic locks a day or whatever, and that takes me 40 days, you know. But you can actually knock out quite a few of those in one day if you want to. It just depends on what you're personally comfortable with. I don't really care about having advanced lockpicking at the beginning of the game, so it's not the biggest thing to me. And also, I know that I can lockpick advanced locks with medium lockpicking. So when we do that and we get into this, you know, start looking at like 8 days. If you do 100 advanced locks a day, that's pretty fast. Alright, get that up, get that out. Alright, so I would say out of everything, Dex is probably, you know, the least important when it comes to just overall play once you get the intelligence stat and stuff going. So if I would drop Dex for intelligence mostly, but if you're a completionist, I would drop strength. If you want to have all your skills maxed, I would just drop strength. Strength is going to be the easiest one. All these skills in here are faster to level than everything else. So if you want to go intelligence, I would keep this, drop the strength, probably drop Dex if I'm going intelligence. But if you wanted to be an absolute completionist, I would just go ahead and drop the Constitution for Dexterity, and then take that Advanced Thievery at the very beginning. There's just... Thievery's going to take you a lot longer to level than most other things. So I'll just go ahead and do that. And then do a 50-50 split or single split or whatever you want on Constitution. If you are a squad leader, you don't rely on yourself as much. You need to rely on your teammates. So that gives them purpose to being in the squad. It gives you purpose to be a squad leader. I think that's pretty important. The other one... What was the other one? If we were doing... I mean, I guess that's basically the gist of it. You basically have the 3 deals. I mean, you want to go PvP and fight, you want to go all-around build, or you want to go team leader. I mean, that's really the main options that you got. Team leader, you don't really need any real specific stat. You can drop dexterity if you want to bring PvP skills. You can drop strength if you want to bring dexterity skills, you know, and keep the you know, the 5 constitution if you want, or you can drop the constitution and you grab the other stuff. So overall, the intelligence one for squad leader has the most flexibility. If you're going for the general build like I was using, then you saw the stats that I would use. Here, if you're going to go like the PvP stuff, dexterity can level on its own, but you just bring whatever weapon stat or whatever that you want. Personally, I'd probably go like medium brawling, medium rifles. But a lot of people like the advanced plus rifle skill, so you can grind that out if you want. And then you don't have to take medical. You can take engineering if you want to build bullets, but medical is going to take you longer. And then this dex skill, I mean, if you're doing PvP combat, you don't necessarily need to lockpick. You just kill the players and steal their loot. You know, it's not going to be the biggest deal, I don't think. But those are like the top builds, I believe, and some of the best ways I think to level it up. Also, when you go into level awareness, you can log it. So you log off, log on, and you get a bunch of small objects. If you use lumber, you could use cloth, you could use rocks or sticks or whatever you want. Get a lot of items around you. You log off and you log back on, and you get XP every time you do that. That's a fast way to level it. If they ever put a punishment on that, then I'd probably just cut down a small forest or collect a bunch of sticks, put them in a line, cut them all down, and then run back and forth or prone crawl back and forth, and you'd be able to basically level up your awareness that way a little bit slower. But using a bow and arrow gives you awareness when you collect your arrows and things, which is nice. Base building gives you awareness. You know, there's a lot of stuff there that's pretty useful. Now, for an example, because I don't know if I told you or not, for why I believe 5 Constitution and Advanced Medical is one of the best starts that you can get at the beginning of the game, is because this is the time that you're going to be running the most. This is the time where you got the most danger, and this is the time where anything that you do that requires stamina is going to be a pain. You know, base building, carrying loot, running places, fist fights, all of that stuff. Having the extra stamina, having the recovery, having the speed makes that a lot easier, especially like wheelbarrow pushing and all that. Just having that extra little bit that you can get done is very, very helpful. Now, for me to explain how, like, to put this in the best context that I can on why I think this is the best, all right? There's a town not too far from me, all right? Literally right over there. And I was raiding, well, not raiding, I was looting garages, right? Now, I've been in the town 1,000 times. I see doors. I think there's a player that's looting in there, but I've never seen him, really. I heard some footsteps in buildings a few times, but I've never really ran into him, right? So I was looting the garages or whatever, got to an edge garage, and the dude apparently was somewhere on this right side in the tree line or something. He shot me through a window in the garage, right? He hit me 3 times before I could turn around. I saw the tracers, and then I went to a door and I tried to like peek the door to see. I didn't see anybody. Then I got hit again, came back in, got hit again through the window, and then I was in the corner. I had no body armor. All right, I kind of waited for a minute, dropped my backpack, and then I tried to like move forward, but I was crippled. So I had to like hobble through the front door, close the front door, and then went to a bush. Had 20% HP. So I went prone in the bush. You can see that my health, I have 120 HP. So people that have 3 Constitution at the beginning of the game have like 100 HP, you know, 80 or 100, I can't remember. But having 5, I mean, that's like a 20% boost. I mean, if you have 80 HP and someone has 120, that's a 50% HP difference, right? You know, if they have 100 HP and I have 120, that's a 20% HP difference. That's a big deal. I took 5 to 6 rounds, all right, and I still had 24 HP left. If I had any less than that, I would have been dead. I had a C4 bleed, and I cut a piece of my clothing off, probably the underwear because it's missing, and I healed it inside the bush. Took like 3 pieces of cloth, healed it. Then you just go and do an action, laid down. I have increased healing rate from medical, and I have increased healing rate while laying down. And in about 30, 40 seconds, I don't even know, like a minute, I was 100% HP. Ready for round 2 of that fight. If I hit him any point, if I hit him with any damage and he did not have those skills, it would take him a long time to recover if he recovers at all. A C4 bleed, he could bleed out. There's like people that I've played with in this game that they go to these bunkers to like loot and they get hit by the mechs, and then they just give up because they know they're gonna bleed to death, and they have like 1 C4 bleed. You know, that's a big deal. I don't have to worry about that. You know, I don't have to worry so much about food and water. So this is a benefit when it comes to having a character, and especially if you want like a sniper character, you don't even necessarily need any strength. You just go camo, sniping skill, and less strength gives you more calorie efficiency. Right? But you're getting a lot of benefit, particularly in those skills at the very beginning of the game. Now, I would say that if you were going to go for a 5 intelligence character and you do not have a squad with you at the beginning of the game, I would probably still do 5 con, 5 intelligence, advanced medical, medium engineering, basic survival. And why I would do that, like why I would say to do that at the beginning of the game, even though that you can level a lot of this stuff up, you know, camo could be a good option as well, or awareness if you want awareness, but when it comes to items as a solo player, I would prefer to do that because if you look at this, you're going to get access to the handgun and the improvised shotgun. You'll get access to the 12 gauge round when you get leveled up. So you'll start off with that. You'll have access to improvised body armors, improvised backpacks, the water canisters, you know, all that stuff that you need, and you get access to uh, the fortifications, the rafts, the wheelbarrows, all like the decent sized locks and decent base building elements to kind of get your feet off the ground. So if I was going to do a 5 intelligence, I'd probably do something like that. But that was just my basic recommendations on this and kind of why I think Constitution, like a lot of people that don't start with max Constitution, there's people that I know play this right now that I don't even know how long they've been playing, but they don't even have advanced running. They don't have max Constitution. They drive a vehicle 90% of the time, and it's fine, but you're losing a lot of HP value. They lose fights because they don't have any medical and they don't have any HP. You know? So I'm gonna hop off here real quick, but just to